Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday. It is a Mattriarchy. I'm wearing my hair up because that's the kind of day I've had. We are joined by a whole passel of people from the Mythoverse. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Oh man, Dan, it's been months since you were on, and I think Brett, I don't think you've been on in a year.
Yeah, the last time I was on, we had a great talk with Doug Ernst about the 7 Deadly Sins of crowdfunding.
Yes,
a lot of fun.
That was a real fun show.
My excuse is I was working at Walmart through most of that year.
Walmart will suck your soul completely dry.
Why do you think I don't work there anymore?
Well, I'm assuming because you got something better.
Yeah, I switched. Yeah, I jumped ship over to a warehouse.
Oh, cool, nice. So, Salem, I don't believe we've ever actually met, although I've seen you around the Twit sphere for a couple of years. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure. I like to spotlight the projects that I think are cool and talk to people I think are interesting. And though we've never met, if you hang out with Dan and Brett, chances are you have some interesting things to say. So,
yeah, I'll vouch for that.
I would hope so.
And Neville, I love the cover to the comic. It's yours, right? To the Hallowed Harvest.
There's my work. I did the cover art and the logo. Also designed the logo.
Yeah, I think I really like it. It's very striking. I saw you over on Nerd Wonders show last night. Was that?
Yeah. So you caught that?
I caught part of it. I was
before or after her internet died.
I think after.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I was only tuned in for about 10 minutes because I was in between things. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that was
fun.
That was a pleasant thing. So your contribution to the book has been the cover. Yeah.
That's one of my contributions.
Okay.
I am also writing and drawing a story in it called Maze of Dolls. It's probably one of the more straight up horror stories in it.
So, Dan, let me ask you this. What was your impetus, or I guess whose idea was maybe you're the wrong person to ask. Whose idea was it to put this book together?
Well, it was the brainchild of one James Stern, who is a creator in our Mythoverse community. He'll be on in about 5 minutes. He just informed us. But I don't want to steal his thunder. I would rather he describe it in his own words.
Okay.
But yes, suffice to say, this was an idea he had, and he's responsible for drumming up the enthusiasm among all the creators involved. He's done a spectacular job of organizing it and keeping everyone on task and on schedule, encouraging everyone. My role in this endeavor was to devise and execute the 2 campaigns, and that was largely a result of brainstorming between the 2 of us. And our goal was, of course, to treat this as a sort of a twofold endeavor. One is market research for this brand new product, which was the first project which features work set in the Mythoverse by creators other than myself, Brad, or Matt. And I think it's done very well to that end. We've definitely been able to demonstrate some enthusiasm for this project. And that's due in no small part to the fantastic quality of the work that's being put out by all these creators, and the fact that it's just a fantastic concept. Halloween, it's absolutely, I love that holiday. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of rich history behind it. Yep.
And it's a natural tie-in to what you guys have going on there. That the intersection of legends and spirits and all that kind of stuff. It seems like it should have been obvious. So
yes, and I think that's why we got so much momentum behind the project, and why everyone ended up being so enthusiastic to contribute their talents and time to it. And I've seen a couple of the completed projects. There are 7 altogether. And the first one that I got to look at was James's contribution. I'll let him describe it in more detail. But that is an all ages story. and I showed it to my daughter, and she wholeheartedly approves. So I think he's nailed his demographic.
Great,
Yep.
great. So Salem, what are you working on in the book?
I am working on a short story that will be featured in it. It'll be the only non-comic in the book,
Okay.
and it will feature an illustration. But I tried to mix it up with a little bit of the writing that I like to read in my own time, but also I try to give it like a creepypasta kind of feel and vibe to it.
Nice, nice. I have not ever been one to spend a lot of time in the creepypastas, but I've got some friends that are like diehard devotees to the medium.
I'm pretty much into anything spooky, and I kind of see creepypasta as almost the equivalent of like your modern day tale around the campfire kind of stories.
Yeah, I think so. Especially the way that, by the copy and paste nature of them, they have this organic kind of a grassroots kind of growth to them. I think it's very much like the
and they change from person to person.
That old kind of piece. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like for some descriptions and stuff, I tried to, when it comes to like descriptive writing or narrative writing, I'm a big fan of the classics, so I tried to throw in a little bit of a flavor of like poems and some Hawthorne here and there. But that is what I'm working on. Do you want me to say what it's about, or should we move on to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll be honest. I'm buying a little bit of time as I share the link on Twitter. So keep talking.
Okay. All right. Well, the story is pretty simple. It's just a friend had been lost in the woods, and the main character is going out to try to find her. And last that he had seen was that she had joined a growing cult in Ireland, and just recently the cult, it was thought to be something that was relatively harmless, but after an incident the day before, it is clear that they are not as peaceful as they seem. So he's in a very big rush to try to find her, and he comes across them performing a ritual, and it's essentially the story is mainly focus on like the imagery and vibes of like kind of like where the origins of Halloween come from. So like it's got imagery from like the ancient Celts and the ancient Gauls and stuff like that. So you get a lot of autumn imagery and a lot of paganistic imagery and such. And I just kind of blended in a bunch of the old school stuff, and I just decided to make just a simple looking for the lost friend in the woods kind of story.
No, I like it. It actually talking about Hawthorne elements. That's right up his alley. So the whole what happens in the woods when no one's paying attention sort of a thing. I like it.
Yeah, and it is. I'm not used to writing this short. It's about 5 to 7 pages long. I'm not used to writing this short, so this is actually going to be the first of something. I don't know if it'll be continued another anthology, or perhaps it'll be continued in perhaps a future comic or what. But this will continue because I actually have some bigger ideas for it going down the line, and so I guess this is to whet people's appetite.
Yeah, I can definitely dig that. And I think one of the things I love about short stories is that they lend themselves to become big, like, moments in big stories.
Oh yeah, I mean, and a lot of short stories end up becoming novellas or novels. I remember that we studied a book in college. It was called like I can't remember. It was something, City of the Dead or something. It was literally just it was a novella, but it was just it was originally just a story that was just a few pages long, and the author just ended up deciding to make a whole book off of it. And he just used his novella as literally the first chapter. So, never get rid of stuff that you make, because you never know what it could evolve into in the future.
Yeah, I can dig that. So, James, the man of the hour, I am told, has arrived. If he, I don't know if you're ready, your mic's on mute, but
because I had ice cream in my mouth.
hey, that's a perfectly good reason.
Rough day at work. I need ice cream.
Oh, I got brandy for a similar reason. So
unfortunately, I'm out of whiskey, but that's probably a good thing, because the last time I had whiskey on stream, I accidentally insulted Brian. So,
which Brian?
Rags Brian.
Oh, he probably had it coming. It's fine.
I'm not gonna say that.
I will. You can tell him I said so too.
No thanks.
I won't say what he'd probably say if you know in response. Anyway, James, Dan was telling me this whole Hallowed Harvest thing was your big idea. You got some answering to do, man.
Yes, it was my idea. The individual stories were conceptualized and created by their respective writers, but the anthology as a whole, I came up with at 4:30 in the morning back in late July, early August, after watching Hellraiser and Halloween 2. I was very... Oh, go ahead.
I want to point out that pulling together an anthology in 3 months is something a crazy person does.
No
Do you know who you're talking to?
He's in good company.
Yeah. No, our first print anthology, and I've got a copy of it. Oh, here it is. We published this back in 2007, I think it was. It's 64 pages, and it took us about 6 months to put together, the first one. Our next one took 10 years to get done, but yeah, I've walked in similar shoes. I know exactly what that does to a person.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the last month has been pretty hectic, because I also got a new job, so that's a lot of hours. So it's like, if I'm not at work, I'm working on this pretty much. And then I also have a gaming group that meets regularly, so it's like gaming friends, work, Mythoverse, nothing else.
So how did you get involved in the Mythoverse?
Back in 2018, I backed the original Kickstarter, and I gained Discord access. And then I can't remember if I was super active early on, but summer 2019, I became pretty active. Had a bout of insomnia in July 2019, so I decided to try doodling instead of playing video games until 3 a.m, just to like try and tire myself out and get to sleep. And those doodles were the basis for a story I decided to pitch for the Mythoverse. Dan, Brett, and Matt all liked the idea, so I joined the creative team.
Yeah. What can you tell us a little bit about the story?
Not exactly, just because it hasn't been like I've announced it before, but that was very dumb of me. So I'm going to keep it more or less under wraps.
Fair enough.
But you can probably keep an eye out for it sometime next year. Well, I guess I will say what mythology it focuses on. It focuses very heavily on Greek mythology.
Okay.
I did a lot of research, and by a lot of research, I mean I read a book on Sparta, and I read Edith Hamilton's mythology.
Okay, cool. That's a little different than a lot of the other Mythoverse fairs, so I think that'll be really fun to see how it ties in.
There'll be a couple of links to the main 3, but nothing substantial as of right now.
Right.
Just because frankly, my story doesn't lend itself super well to crossover material. It's
Right.
a very, I have the start, I have the middle, I have the end, and there's a couple of like tangent points where it'll meet with some of the main stories, but otherwise, it's not really gonna be super interconnected.
Yeah. More of what I meant was like big world building kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of the big world, and Dan and Brett, we both talked about it We've all talked about it extensively from time to time, and in our universe for Ideal Comics, we rewrote time for our universe. So, so I love seeing other people do kind of similar things. I love to see how they take their ideas and kind of build them together. I met Dan and before I had the show, just over Twitter, Dan and Brett, before they and Matt too, before it became a thing, right? When it was all disparate ideas, they were all like, "Hey, I'm doing this story and I'm doing this story." And when they married their stories together, I was like, "Ooh," I was interested. Now I'm intrigued. so
okay. In that sense, then yes, it will contribute to some of the world building.
Very cool. Very cool. I mean, because I'm excited to see it come down. So, Brett, I haven't asked you anything yet. Do you have anything going into this book?
Nope. I didn't contribute anything.
Well, see you, Brett.
Yeah, get out of here.
Brett, ladies and gentlemen, Brett, thank you for.
If I did anything, it was just help promote the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there is a story about Maeve in the anthology.
Yeah, but it's by Ginger.
Okay, cool. Did you find it? Was it challenging at all for you to share your girl in that way?
Not with Ginger. She's like, considering how long Ginger's been attached to the project, I pretty much knew she could knock it out of the park. Like, it's, even though she put her own spin on it, it felt like Maeve. It didn't. If I did, like, if circumstances ever forced me to leave the book for good, I could leave it with Ginger, and I don't think anything would really change.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, a good relationship to have. That's to be able to trust somebody like that. That's pretty cool. So, I don't know that there's anybody I feel that way about. Maybe I'm just an ass. I don't know. So, now how many stories are in the book?
So there's 7 stories.
Okay.
Do you want me to go over each of them?
Sure. Yeah, we're here to talk about it.
All right. I guess I'll kind of go in the order that they were inducted in, just because that's what makes most sense in my head at this point. So, first story was mine, because when I conceived of the anthology, I also conceived of my contribution. So my story is Halloween traditions. It's very heavily inspired by my childhood memories of Halloween. So the more wholesome aesthetics that are associated with Halloween, like the children's specials, like Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob and whatnot, it pulls from that kind of naive time in my life. And so I hope it very much reflects that naivety in a way that's nostalgic. So in terms of story, it's rumored that in a certain graveyard, the ghosts will rise during the witching hour on All Hallows Eve. And so all the local kids kind of have a competition to see who can stay there the longest and commune with the ghosts.
Right.
And this time, someone succeeds.
Cool. That's fun. That's got kind of a one of my favorite Halloween movies is the Monster House, right? Dan Harmon produced that, and it's just like it's scary, but it's like PG scary. My kids kind of grew up watching it because we just liked it so much. It's got that kind of it seemed maybe similar vibe where it's It's definitely Halloweeny. It doesn't like shy away from some of that, but it's also like, you know, fun, like that whole thing, the whole Rankin Bass kind of feel to it. That's neat. That sounds neat, man. I like it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All I know is that it passed the Dan's daughter test.
Oh yes, I let Matt know that I showed her that story, and she absolutely loved it, and she laughed at certain parts too, and even let out an awe at another part. So,
Wholesome, my
so, yeah.
heart, Dan, it can't take it.
yeah. So as I was saying, James's story is for not necessarily for the younger readers, but it's appropriate for all ages,
Right.
and he definitely hit the target demographic with his test audience.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
And then I think the next story was Neville's story, Maze of Dolls. So since he's here, I'll let Neville talk about the story.
Goodness.
Cool.
All right. So now that you've heard the like wholesome, comfy, family-friendly story, we're going to go all the way in the other direction.
Excellent.
So, Maze of Dolls is about a young lady that finds out about a Halloween maze that there's no information online about. So she decides that she's going to be the first person to find stuff out about it. And so she sneaks in early and gets a lot more than she bargained for.
Ooh.
A lot of, just to drop a few hints at what's going to go on there. A couple of the things that I kind of thought about when I was making this story are one, obviously Halloween mazes, like the kinds you'd go at like the corn mazes, or the kinds of places you go at like Knott's Berry Farm in Halloween, that kind of thing. And there's also another kind of phenomenon that goes on in some communities during Halloween where people will mistake dead bodies for Halloween decorations.
Yep, that happens.
Yeah, like the guy that they found in Denver that one time, and the rather distressing amounts of them that are people that hang themselves in front of their houses. Those were kind of the two things that kind of got me thinking about this story and got me making Maze of Dolls. The idea is like, so what if the Halloween decorations that involve like corpses or actual real bodies?
Well, that's grotesque, Neville.
It's pretty messed up.
Well, honestly, though, that's if you ever seen many of the Roger Corman horror films from the like 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Those really cheap ass ones.
Oh,
yeah, they are, but they're also terrifying. You know Vincent Price and Basil Rathbone and Peter Lorre. I mean, they had a whole cast of people that would, and Corman would go in and he'd film them in like an afternoon, right? But
all I'll say is Beast with a billion eyes.
Yeah. So even though they had a really low budgets and they were done really rushed, the top-notch actors he'd bring in for these horror pictures would still just like the Pit and the Pendulum, which was loosely based on a Edgar Allan Poe story. It's still a terrifying movie. It's just because the amount
it's also
of
hard to go wrong with Vincent Price.
Oh my goodness, yes. Mask of the Red Death. My goodness sakes, just great stuff.
Oh.
But yeah, they were it has kind of I'm not saying it sounds like that, but it reminds me of those movies that are just so visceral in them.
There's definitely going to be a lot of viscera going on here.
So
I don't know what it is, but for some reason horror just seems to work better on lower budgets.
Well, I think it's the unnerving aspect of it, right? Because part of horror isn't just that it's scary; it's that it's unsettling, right? And I think that's why, like, when you look at like the first Evil Dead movie, right? Like, it was scary, but it was also cheesy. But it was so low budget that I think it felt scarier than it was, because it has that kind of unnervingness to a lot of even the special effects. There are crude stop motion, and so it's a visually jarring thing. And if you let yourself,
Hey, visually jarring. There's something else that is tied into my story.
I was gonna. Go ahead.
Sorry, Brett.
Go, Sam.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I hope you don't mind me butting in, but the horror genre is my absolute all-time favorite, and I've got a little definition of myself as to what effective horror is supposed to do.
Okay.
And it's supposed to make you realize what you took for granted. It's supposed to threaten something you hold dear, and threaten to take it away.
Yeah.
So even if it's a jump scare, what that is doing is making your sense of security threatened. You even though that what's in front of you is not real, you still react to it because it's baked into you to have fight or flight.
Yeah.
And so, I was just building off that point. Is I think that a good effective horror should make you feel that you yourself are threatened in some form or another. And the best kind of horror will make you realize when you're scared of something that you don't think of on a regular basis, but that's what makes it even more important and even more scary to lose. And in your case with the Evil Dead example, you probably, since it is more realistic, you are, like you just said, you are able to see yourself in that position probably a lot easier than other horror films with the overused CGI nowadays.
Yeah, and I think the cheapness is a big factor in it too.
I was gonna mention. I mean, sorry, just one thing I want to get up before we go back to Neville, because I was thinking of those golden age monster movies. Your Dracula, your Frankenstein, the Wolfman. I'm not a horror historian, so I don't know this for sure. But were those considered big budgets for their day?
I mean, I wouldn't say big budget, but I mean, they had money behind them, but most of it went to the actors. Well, not necessarily. What's his name? They started paying, in Frankenstein. I can't remember the dude's name right now.
Oh, Karloff.
Karloff. They started paying Karloff after Frankenstein because he became like a named dude. You could just put his name on a movie, and for like 20 years it would sell just because his name was on it. That's why they did The Mummy, because Frankenstein was so popular. But and Lugosi, when for like 5 or 7 years, he was a kind of a hot commodity, and then quickly wasn't. But like Lon Chaney, he just like worked, and Lon Chaney Jr. just like took every role he could. I mean, he was he had a little bit of fame, but he didn't have a lot. But I wouldn't say they were high budget. But the spending was very different then than it is now. I mean, because even like what you could do with effects was just a wildly different thing. And yeah, so I wouldn't say they were big budget for the time, but I don't know that it would be comparable to how we spend money on movies today.
I mean, they definitely had major studio backing, so that says something.
Yeah. But I mean, everything was primitive with it, So I mean, even if you were, making a film in your garage those cameras were really expensive then too. But
that's probably a lot of what they'd spent money on as far as overhead goes.
Yeah, because they didn't have and then also like back in the 30s, like all of the film was like the silver nitrite, I think is what it was the.
Oh yeah, it's really volatile in it. It's kind of hard to keep it all together.
So I never really realized this was totally a tangent, but I got to share a story. I never really thought about like how dangerous those film were, man. I'd heard about it and stuff. But 20 years ago now, because that's how old I am, I went to one of our small theaters in Western Nebraska where I live. And I was going with some guys, and we were up in the balcony. Before the show, we were just chatting about the old building and how cool and old this building was. And I wonder what the story of this building is. and the projectionist sticks his head out and he says, "Do you want to see something cool?"
Always a good start.
And I said, "Do I?" And so he brought us into the projection room, and the first thing I noticed was in front of the door, above the door and above the projection window were these giant iron plates. And I said, then there was the camera, and they had the big table spooling and all this other kind of stuff. And I said, "What's with all the traps here?" The giant iron door. Well, back in the day, these silver nitrate film was super flammable, and the only way to produce enough light to show it on the screen back then was to use an open arc, like a welding arc, and it would have these open arcs that would arc across in a box, and on the other side of the box would be the lens setup and the silver nitride film. So you have an ignition source 6 inches away from a massively flammable thing, and all the projection booths had to be set up so that if it caught fire, it would lock down the booth and not kill all the patrons.
Holy shit.
So being a projectionist from like the 20s up until like the 50s was really literally taking your life in your hands.
Hope we got good hazard pay. Jeez.
That was before hazard pay existed.
Negotiate the hell out of that wage.
I'm gonna bet this was also before you could get insurance from your job.
Yeah. I mean, like, insurance started becoming a thing like the most people had. Well, insurance plans existed back in the 1800s, but it wasn't a thing most people had up until like the 50s. It just didn't exist for most things. But yeah, that was a whole thing, and I was just like stunned to find out about all of this. And of course, like now all that stuff's still in the building because it's more expensive to remove than it is to just leave. So, and the chances of actually, bursting into flames. They had just converted everything to digital sound at the place. It was the first theater in West Nebraska to have an SDDS sound system, the Sony surround sound, which was crazy because the town of Mitchell, where this happened, has like 1,000 people, on a good day. So it was really surprising. But yeah. So those old movies, that the stuff that they filmed them on, it was just crazy stuff. Anyway, Neville, enough about old theaters. Let's talk about mazes.
Oh yeah. So there's a lot of that kind. There's two things. I was thinking about what Salem said. I was kind of tying it in that there's two kinds of things that Maze of Dolls is going to threaten you with. I will only tell you one. You're going to do double takes on your neighbor's front lawns every time you walk by.
I love it.
The other one is a surprise for later. A trauma surprise.
Yeah. So speaking of,
I just want to say he's probably got the. I just want to say Neville's probably got the perfect art style to go for that story because it is just so cartoony and it looks so non-threatening. It's like the last scene, nightmare fuel in something like in a story with that kind of art style is like the last thing you would expect.
Good. I like it. I like to hear it.
So speaking of kind of tonal whiplash, this is something I forgot to mention regarding the creation of the project.
Okay.
Is one of the goals on top of just providing quality content was to celebrate Halloween within the Mythoverse and celebrate the different aspects of Halloween. So like I mentioned, my story is really wholesome and it's meant to capture kind of the naivety and wholesomeness of Halloween when you were like 7. But then there's other aspects to Halloween as well. There's the horror, which Neville's going to be capturing. There's kind of the tropes and creatures, which other stories are capturing. There's the original culture and folklore behind Halloween. And so one of the goals of this project was to kind of celebrate as many of the different parts of Halloween as we could.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I were budgetarily, I was only able to put in for the digital, but I'm super looking forward to getting this project. So very excited.
Well,
So- I'm sorry.
I've got almost all the stories in. They were all supposed to be in yesterday, but some circumstances prevented one of the artists from being able to finish the story on time. And this isn't like a sleight of hand. Gotcha. It's like legit unfortunate things happened, and we're gonna have to wait a couple more days to get the art. But what I've received so far has been very high quality. I'm really excited to showcase everyone's work.
So are you looking to go to press next week then? Is that how that's going to work out, or?
Well, Dan might be able to comment better on this. I'm organizing the story and getting the files to Dan, and then he's taking care of the fulfillment.
Yeah, I resolved to do the boring stuff so everyone else could just focus on the cool stuff.
And it is very much appreciated, Dan.
Yeah, no problem. So as soon as I receive the files, I will spend an evening getting them prepped up for print, and then we will have the digital editions prepared to fulfill as soon as the campaign completes. So this was our goal from the beginning, was to give ourselves about a week lead time, just to make sure that we catch any editorial corrections that may be necessary. Get the files all set up, and then I will immediately order a proof as soon as we're satisfied.
Cool.
And I will send one to James for him to look at. I'll get one for myself to look at. And if we agree it looks nice, then I will place the order, and everyone will get their stuff in the mail shortly thereafter. So we're looking at probably a minimum of 2-week turnaround time from the time I place the order. And if that changes, I'll make sure to let everyone know. But that seems to be the average turnaround time for the printer that we're working with right now.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like good stuff. That's exciting, man. That's exciting. So.
Oh yeah.
So I will say though, as a crowdfunder policy that we enacted from our first campaign, if you, no matter which platform you pledged on, no matter what tier you pledged for, once the file is all set up, everyone will get a digital copy emailed to them.
I know that with your first Mythoverse campaign, I know you guys ran into a lot of printing problems with that, but I really did appreciate those digitals going out right away. So,
that's our policy.
Yeah,
we want to make sure everyone gets their stories as soon as possible.
Yeah, I read them and enjoyed them thoroughly.
I'm glad to hear that.
I couldn't put it down at first, and I know Matt came on my show shortly after that and was just like, I wasn't happy with it.
Matt really stepped up when he received his feedback and delivered a very quality product.
Yes. No, I did notice that. I mean, I enjoyed the first one. I thought it was it was rough, but it was sometimes it is that way, and it's still really enjoyable. But the editorial changes he made were very positive. It turned something good into something great. So
I agree.
So which that's what you want, right?
Of course.
But yeah, so you've got the I'm forgetting all the names of the stories, but your story, James,
Halloween Traditions,
and Neville's story, which is Maze of Dolls.
Yep.
Right. Ooh, I've remembered. And Salem's story, which I don't remember the name of.
So I don't think we've gone over that yet.
Well,
we went over it, but I never said the title. My bad. Mine's called the Blackfire Covenant.
Ooh. That's a good name. So that's 3 of 7, right?
Yep.
Am I counting
3
right?
of 7.
3 of 7. So what else? What else we got?
So then there's the story by Dylan Fagan, October 1987.
Okay.
And that one, when I mentioned that we have stories that play more into the monster tropes, that's going to be Dylan's story. It's a good old vampire hunt put on by the Paladins. I don't
very
really
Hellboy-esque.
I'm sorry, Brett.
I was going to say it's very Hellboy-esque.
Okay. Very cool. So are these paladins we've met before, Dan, or are these totally new characters?
This is 1987, so it's before Adobe Kroger's time.
Mhm.
And these are brand new characters that have never been in a story before.
I mean, I knew that it was before Adobe's time, but I was curious about whether maybe it was somebody we met in her interactions, because there are a few that it could be maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to discuss it too much, but the characters are new, and they are part of the world, and they are important to the later events. I just don't want to say how they're important to later events yet. But yeah, Dylan and I worked pretty closely on developing these two characters and their story. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. We need to have that longer conversation sometime, Dan. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, last year I got a chance to listen to the audiobook for Adobe Kroger, Knight Errant. Right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yes. And I have had questions for 12 months that I have yet to have answered, because every time we think we have a time to, because we were going to do like an exclusive, like members only stream kind of interview thing, and full of spoilers. But every time we think we have a schedule comes up, something breaks, or
or we decide to talk about the 7 deadly sins of crowdfunding, which was fantastic. So.
Yeah, that was great. But anyway, so not yet. Someday, all of you guys will have a chance to tune in, but not today. Anyway, so Dylan's story, 87, Vampire Hunt. I love it. What else can we find out about it?
Well, I can let slip a little bit. There are some very minor details in that story that are important to the world building. They're not presented as important, but when you read later stories and come back and look at this one, you'll say, "Oh yeah, that was set up over here."
Ooh, I love that kind of thing.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. So that's Dylan's story. That's 4.
All right. So it's 3 more. There is Ginger's story, which is the Maeve story.
Yeah, that's right.
My best worst Halloween ever. Correct? Did I get the name correct, Brett?
My best worst Halloween.
Okay. It's not. There's no ever, but my best ever. So that one I haven't looked super closely into, just because I've been busy and I've been very bad about keeping up with everyone about their content. I trust them all to get quality content and I'll that's what this buffer week is for vetting, okay, let's just make sure everything looks good. Maybe that's a bad policy, but that's what I'm learning.
Well, that's a fair statement too, but also one thing Brett and I were talking about, I think before he got there, is it's Ginger, right? I mean, she's been part of the project, part of that world for 2 years now. If anyone knows the character, it's her. So
what I can say is the art is absolutely fantastic. One of the, I don't know if it's a splash page or if it's just a panel from the story, but I've dubbed it the Maeve Scream, and it's based on the famous Scream painting, and it is phenomenal. I'm really excited to have the whole thing physical to just enjoy the gorgeous art, if nothing else.
Is she doing all of everything on the project?
I believe so. My understanding is that she just runs it by Brett to make sure it's okay story-wise.
Well, I meant, is she doing the art and the?
Oh yeah, she's doing
everything.
Okay. Wow, cool.
Yeah, so you get to enjoy following Maeve as she very unwillingly takes her younger cousin trick or treating, and hijinks ensue.
I already love it.
Yeah, and that leaves 2 stories left, which, funnily enough, both have the same artist. So there is Forrester's story, which Forrester is actually going to be the artist working on my mainline entry for the Mythoverse. So if you like his art, I think you'll like the art for my story moving forward. But he is very familiar with kind of naval history, particularly around Norfolk, Virginia. And so his story is kind of like a ghost shanty type thing where there's a bar where all the ghosts gather that died in Chesapeake Bay, and a guy stumbles in on accident.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's not super plot heavy from my understanding. It's more of an experiential thing, which is really cool. He manages to capture golden age pulpy style so well. It's insane.
Yeah, I've got a chance to look at a couple pages of his aquatic. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Oceania.
My head, yeah. And I really want to see that whole project, but he swears it's not ready, and I shouldn't ask questions. And but yeah, so I look forward to seeing his entry. That especially the way you're describing it, that sounds really great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. With him, it's very much you don't see a lot until it's done, and when it's done, it's good.
Yes.
So I'm very. Oh, hey, Kush said he just backed the campaign. Thank you, man.
Hey, Stat, how you doing?
Sorry, I got distracted. Squirrel brain. So that leaves the last story. Piper, this one's a really long name. Piper Chapter 0, Life's Final Riddle. That's the subtitle. So Piper Chapter 0 was actually one of the earlier stories that got inducted in, but due to life circumstances, the writer had to put it on hold for a bit, and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to squeeze it in. But in the last couple of weeks, things got better, and we were able to get it back in, which is awesome.
I'd also like to state that it wouldn't be happening if Forrester hadn't stepped up.
Yeah.
And he essentially took on the artwork for this thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So the fact that we have this additional story is mostly thanks to Forrester. So thank you very much, man.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. No, that's actually doubly exciting for me because, like I said, I've known Forrester for a while, and I've really wanted to see more of his stuff. So I'm super glad I'm going to get a chance to do that. So, also I think Tim's got the workings of a story for someone else. That's he put there in the chat. I think this is a great pastiche.
That's funny. But yeah, so Piper Chapter 0. It kind of explores the idea of Samhain season being the time at which the dead interface with the living, which is really cool. It's rooted in Halloween, Samhain, and Day of the Dead folklore.
Okay. And
so I feel like Bunny's going to kill me later for poorly describing it, but whatever. A girl finds herself on an unexpected road where one road leads to her destiny and the other leads to eternity, I think is how she described it. And so it kind of plays with what would happen if a person accidentally walked into limbo and didn't realize it. And it's really cool. It's done in a more manhwa style. So it's a little bit different than Forrester's usual work. But again, from what I've seen, it's still that top shelf kind of pulpy feel.
Nice. Dude, I'm so excited for this. I mean, I may not be bouncing around in my chair, but that's because I have some level of decorum. It's a little, but I tell you, and this sounds so exciting. So I have to echo what Tim in the chat says. People watching should back. Listen, internet, back this project.
Yeah, well, I mean,
here, internet.
Listen here, internet.
Yeah, this is definitely a very important stepping stone for the Mythoverse. We're already funded on Kickstarter. We're still chipping away at the Indiegogo. Made some progress in the last week, and really, this from the publication standpoint for the Mythoverse, this project's important because it shows that there's demand for more Mythoverse outside of Brett, Matt, and Dan, outside of Adobe, Althea, and Maeve.
Well, I think that's really when you come to building a universe, right? I don't think any creator builds a universe with the idea that you're just content with what you put into it, right? The whole idea of building a universe is to make a sandbox that other people want to come visit. And so I think that I can definitely understand that being, like I said, like a stepping stone for what can the Mythoverse be? What can it be beyond that whole thing? And how can that work out? So
yeah, so there's that element of the relative success of the project shows that there's more demand, and on the creative end, I get to showcase all these crazy talented people who've been slowly working behind the scenes to build up the lore of the Mythoverse, build stories, characters, events. Like, if I get my way with my stories, crazy stuff that's going to happen in the world. Potentially the summoning of a demon lord.
Yeah, so let's hope he gets his way. Yes.
Normal stuff.
No big deal.
Well, that's
Adobe calls that Tuesday.
Oh, I was going to say if you'd read Knight Errant, that's really it's all part and parcel of the Mythoverse plan.
Yes.
But I think for me personally, the biggest thing about this project is getting eyes on people from the Mythoverse. There's so many people who are crazy talented, like Neville, like Salem, like Dylan.
Dylan's a freaking factory. I mean,
yeah.
I tell him to stop drawing, and he wakes up at 2 a.m. and there's 6 new illustrations in the channel. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and he doesn't use a pen. Like, he literally just sits there on a tablet and draws with his finger. I don't understand how it's so good.
I don't understand either, but
that has to do with what you do with the tablet. It's just all, the brushes on the tablet, but. And, being talented to start with. Yeah. I couldn't do that. I understand the process of how it works, but I couldn't do it. It's like working on a transmission.
But yeah, that is my main goal. If this anthology gets people excited for what else is going to be coming to the Mythoverse in the coming 2 years, then I think I've done my job.
Yeah, and I'd say so.
So you talked about this a little on Nerdstream yesterday, Neville, but how did you get involved in this project?
I mean, in this project specifically, I was one of the people that was around when James stumbled in and was like, yo, guys, it'd be really cool. Mythoverse Halloween. And I was like, yeah.
Okay, I was extremely tired. The drunk part is apocryphal.
I can neither confirm.
I did not say drunk. I only said stumbled in.
To be fair, there's not much of a difference between the way you sound when you're drowsy or drunk.
It is.
And when I say you, I mean you, general, not you specifically, James.
But yeah, he talked to us about it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll see if I can come up with something. And after racking my brain for a little bit, I kind of realized that there's another character for a story I planned on pitching to the Mythoverse later. Or I guess effectively I've already pitched it. But I've used this character before, and I realized I could use her as a vehicle for another story, and it actually be kind of appropriate to throw her in a spooky Halloween kind of setting.
My only disappointment for Maze of Dolls is that there's no pool noodles. Shame.
Ooh.
What about trash cans?
No, none of those.
I can't
either
remember.
yet.
Oh,
I
Dang,
feel like I'm in the
dude,
middle of
come
an
on.
inside joke now.
Oh yeah, it's pool noodles and noodle posting are a thing in the Mythoverse Discord, or at least among the creators. Mostly me.
Yeah.
It is an interesting thing.
The Mythoverse Discord is a weird place for me because like
Yeah.
I'm in there, right? But I only check in because like I don't know, something about the Discord format. I'm not really on Discord very often, right? There's a couple of people that like the only way to get a hold of them is through the Discord DM system, and so that's kind of the thing. But like I'll only check out a couple of boards I'm in a few times a month, right? But there's so much that goes on in the Mythoverse Discord. It's like it's like missing church for a Sunday or something. We're like if you don't show up for a couple of days, you're completely lost. I don't even know who's here anymore. It's like they've all suddenly started speaking Esperanto. I'm so confused.
Listen, do you understand that Brett is the big gay?
No.
okay.
Then
Well,
you're-
that's
Got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. I
Well,
was going to say, if you understood that, then you're caught up.
well. There are two so far references to that meme in the Hallowed Harvest.
I've seen it. I don't understand it. I acknowledge that it exists. You see, you also got to remember here something, James. I'm basically like everyone's dad, right? Like, I mean, I'm old enough. I don't think I'm probably not older than Dan, really. But I mean, in
No.
terms of like my normal interaction with people, I'm old enough to be old, even if you don't believe it. So every time anybody says anything online, I'm sort of like, listen here, whippersnapper. I was here during the BBSs. Yeah. You know, so
Yeah.
like meme culture is nearly lost on me as a thing. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I'm aware of it in the same way that like, you know, your dad was aware of like, you know, whatever, you know. Oh, kids are wearing their pants down around their butt cracks. That's a funny thing.
But everything is to the back with a little slack, because inside out is wiggity whack.
That was the whitest
Oh
thing I've
god,
ever heard
yeah.
you say.
Now you're really showing your age there.
Yeah, well, it's crisscross. We'll make it jump. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and act like I understood that.
No, there's nothing to understand. It's complete nonsense.
Oh, okay. I'm caught up.
There's Tim Morris says there's Mythoverse lore, and then there's Mythoverse Discord lore.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Also, no, Tim, I know what a PDF is. I'm also that many years old.
Oh my
man.
goodness. Yeah, that's
Although,
But yeah, I should probably start posting more of the things I've made with the Brittany character because it'll at least illuminate some of the jokes. Some of them,
It'll
not
illuminate
all
the
of
trash
them.
can ones.
It will illuminate the trash can joke.
Yeah, I still need to commission a trash can Dakimakura from you.
Yes.
I forgot
See-
about that.
See, when we get around to launching Brittany's story, that can be a perk. You can get a tier where you get a trash can Dakimakura.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know what any of those words
All
mean.
right, so a Dakimakura. I'm gonna
Body
walk you through it.
pillow.
You know, like
Body
the
pillow.
anime girl body pillows.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's a Dakimakura.
Okay.
This one is of the girl hiding in a trash can.
But she's
Oh.
on a pillow in a trash can, hiding.
The trash can's on the pillow?
Yeah.
It is on the pillow. It's on the pillowcase print.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I did not know. I guess I don't know why I didn't know those had a name, but I didn't know those had a name.
I mean, most people don't. I mean, you can usually get by with body pillow.
Yeah. In fact, I didn't know it was a thing until like a year ago, but that's okay.
Tim Morris, your waifu is literally yes, that's exactly what it means. That's exactly what
You're
that
right.
means.
I guess since we've gone over the stories, going over the backer tiers might be a good idea, unless you've already done that.
Oh, we have not.
I have not. Would you like me to share my screen?
Go for it, man.
All right.
I'll tile us.
All right. Okay. Let me get this ready here.
Thrill as Dan shares his screen.
Yes. All right. So here we go.
Marvel as it pulls it up on the stream.
It's sorcery. All right. So anyway, so what we have here is the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo. So they're, for all intents and purposes, identical. The difference is, of course, we had the Kickstarter at the lower fixed goal and Indiegogo at a higher flexible goal. And the idea was, since Kickstarter is an all or nothing affair, and Indiegogo had an option to be flexible, we decided to get the Kickstarter funded up first, and then focus on the Indiegogo. But ultimately, it doesn't matter which one you back, because the money's all going to the artists at any rate now, because the Kickstarter's funded, and anything we make on the Indiegogo is going through. So before I go through the tiers, if you want, we can look at the promo video right here.
Hang on just a second. I think I kicked Salem, bringing the screen up. I'm going to try to see what happens. If I add him to the stream. Are you with us, Salem?
Hello?
Oh, hello. Okay. I might have kicked you, but it let me to add you back in. So I don't know what happened. But
okay, so may I play the promo video real quick?
I'm not sure if it'll go through or not, but we'll find out.
All right, I'll just click this little green button here and see what happens.
I'm hearing it.
I don't hear any audio.
Hang on. No, it's not letting me kick the audio on. I don't have that option.
All right, I'll go ahead and close it then. So anyway, we'll just skip right past that video then, and we will go to straight to the tiers. So anyway, like I said, the two campaigns are identical. They offer the same perks for the same price. So just pick your poison. Doesn't matter at this point which one you pick. Whichever one you prefer is just fine with us. So we'll start here with the traditional pledge $1 or more for the Mythoverse tier. And this is if you want to just provide a quick show of support for us, but you don't have a lot to spare. This just shows us that there is people out there that want to help us out, but they may not be able to any great degree, but it's still very much appreciated. So we offer this tier for anyone that's that shoe fits. And what you get here is a personalized chibi email thanking you for believing in the Mythoverse and tossing a buck in our tip jar. Okay. Next, All Hallows Digital is the $5 tier. Now this is this gets you the digital edition of the Hallowed Harvest anthology, and when we initially set up the campaign, we did not realize that we're going to be able to add the 7th story. So the copy on the tier reads 52 full color digital pages, but it is now above that.
I think we're over 65 pages at this point. Things have kind of changed a little bit since we last talked in, so that number is upwards of 65. We're gonna have to figure some stuff out with that.
Okay.
Obviously, the most important change is that there's another pumpkin on the cover.
Yes,
there's another pumpkin on the cover. In case it wasn't.
I just noticed the pumpkins have different symbols on them. Are the pumpkins the different stories?
Yep.
Yes,
oh
they are.
Oh my goodness! How did I not notice that?
Well, there's an extra one in the latest cover.
I feel like a fool.
Life is a lie.
But so that each one of these jack-o'-lanterns represents one of the stories, and there are now 7 of them. So
the Maeve pumpkin is actually adorable.
Yep, and you see the Port of Call pumpkin over here, the Maze of Doll pumpkin up here in the graveyard. So yeah, it's all very cool, and Neville just completely murdered this cover. I love it.
Well done, man. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I actually one of the first things I noticed was that cover, honestly, and I knew that if I could find the scratch that I was going to back the thing. I just had to decide on what my budget was for it, and I regret being as poor as I am, but
That's okay.
I tell you, the Kernanos image on the cover was just like, yeah, you absolutely get some of my money. I couldn't have not bought a project with a cover like that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, right on. I agree.
All right, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just got word from Forrester that Piper Chapter 0 is completed, so that leaves 2 stories left for me to get the files on.
Nice. Very
All
exciting. Can't wait to get that set up.
I was hoping he could join us tonight.
Looked from in the Discord, he asked if the stream was done yet, so he might still be hopping on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I only have room for 5 guests because I'm cheap. So I'd have to kick somebody. It'd probably be Brett, but I'd have to kick somebody.
Okay. So anyway,
Yeah,
moving on. So
I love that cover.
yeah,
Oh,
me
thank you.
too. Absolutely.
Yeah, so Neville really pulled all the stops in helping me get this going. He did the cover, he did the logo, he contributed like a 12. How many pages is it?
It's 14 pages.
Yeah, he contributed 14 pages. Like, dude's awesome.
Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to note about the cover, the way I designed the pumpkins. I wanted to make sure that these were jack-o'-lanterns I could actually carve myself.
Nice.
So give you an idea of what I might be doing in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of the cover, I was tracking down the actual completed cover. So this is the cover here on the screen right now with the logo included, the trade dress, and all the credits on the cover.
Oh, nice.
Of course,
That one does not have the 7th pumpkin.
Not yet. No, that has not yet been set up, but that will be set up as soon as we get all of the remaining stories.
All right, Forrester will be hopping in here in a second. I just DM'd him the link.
Sweet.
Cool.
Bye,
All right.
Brett.
So moving on. So that is the $5 tier. So for $5, you get the digital edition mailed to you as soon as the campaign completes. So, like James just said, we have almost all the stories ready to go. So we'll have it ready to go out well in advance of the campaign's conclusion. So
I'm going to interrupt you just a second here because Tim from the chat is giving Neville a little grief here. He says that star one's going to make you rethink the attempt.
There's weirder stuff in my neighborhood.
Well, no, just in terms of the difficulty of actually cutting that into a pumpkin, I think is what he
I can manage.
It can be done.
I've honestly done some tougher ones before.
Yeah.
Last year I did what's that character? Alistair from Has Been Hotel as a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, I mean it can be done, but man, those thin lines, you get one chance at that, or it's a new pumpkin.
Good thing we got a lot of pumpkins.
So anyway, $5. That's where we left off.
yeah, so for $5 you get the digital edition, and like we said, it'll be mailed out to all the backers as soon as the campaign completes. So you'll get to read all these stories immediately without any wait. Okay, so moving on to the $10 tier. This is called the Digital Catch-Up Pack. Now, what this is you will get for $10 the digital edition from the $5 tier, in addition to every other digital comic we've ever produced. So that includes all 3 of our number 1s, all the short stories from the Patreon, and the 22-page one-shot dropping out by Dylan Fagan and myself. So everything that we've produced so far, you'll get mailed to you. If you haven't had a chance to read them yet, you'll get a chance to catch up on all the Mythoverse stuff for $10. So
nice.
Yep, and that will also be sent out immediately upon the campaign's completion.
Are both campaigns still live right now?
Yes.
Yes, so they're going to be live until the 21st.
Yep.
I did not see that $10 one, and I might have to bump my thing up. I have got to look at my checkbook. Because I was really lamenting not getting a chance to read those other short stories. So
well, Yeah, well, here you go. Here's your chance. You can get 6. Let me see.
I think I can find another $5.
Well, be happy to share these stories with you. They're good ones.
Yes.
You'll notice along the top here, most of them are drawn by Dylan. When I called that kid a factory a little while ago, I wasn't lying. I mean, his output this year has been staggering, to say the least. The short stories are 8 pages each, and there's 3 of them. And then he did a 22-page one-shot, which is this one right here with Adobe looking insane.
Right.
So and he just worked his heart out on this one, and I showed it to Brian, and he said, that is wild. So.
Tim's cracking me up. Sir, this is your 38th pumpkin. You've come back to purchase
today. I said I would carve all 7 designs.
Who said I was stopping at 7?
Contest idea. Someone gets 7 pumpkins, carves all the designs in. We send them a signed copy of Hallowed Harvest.
Oh my goodness!
Really?
Signed by all the creators, yeah.
Well, that's a lot of
if we can logistically get that, I was thinking just me.
No,
that'd
man.
be logistically doable. But I mean, I'd be down for all the creators.
Well, that's a lot of work you're asking them to do. That's 7 pumpkins to carve them. So I think we could swing that, but we'll see. Okay, so that's the $10 tier. So you get all of the digital Mythoverse stuff. Okay, so moving on to the $25 tier, you get the All Hallows print. Now, you get the print edition of Hallowed Harvest, which is going to be over 65 full-color pages, so that's a hell of a value, sent to your door. In addition, you get all of the digital stuff. And Tim says, add a pumpkin tier where Neville has to carve and mail them a pumpkin with one of the designs. What can go wrong?
I'll have to prepare my pumpkin cannon.
No, you'll just have one of your delivery elves do it.
Yeah, I don't trust them with anything heavier than a small book, really.
Or made of food.
Neither of those things are going to survive.
Yeah, so that's $25. You get the print Hallowed Harvest book and all the digitals. Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Then for $45, you can opt up to the print catch-up pack, which is essentially the digital catch-up pack, but also print. Surprisingly enough, that's exactly what it says on the tin. So basically, you get all 3 of the issue 1s of the Mythoverse in print. You get Dropping Out in print, and you get Hallowed Harvest in print. Now, as of the time of this campaign, we had these 3 short stories, but we did not have plans to offer them in print at this time, so you will only get those in digital. We do have plans to compile these short stories into a print volume, and we're going to debut that on our Patreon later on. But for right now, they're just going to come to you in digital for the $45. So you get all the print books there. For $65, you get everything from the print catch-up pack. That's all of our print books, with the exception of the short stories. Those will be digital only. And you get these 3 posters. You get the, let me scroll down here so you can see it. You get the Maeve Scream poster. This is what James was talking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you get, yeah, me too. And you get this from Dylan Fagan, which corresponds to October 1987. That is the Paladin story. So these are the 2 main characters of that story, Tom and Michael. Okay. And last but not least, an untrade dressed version of Neville's cover. So this is the old one without the 7th pumpkin, but obviously the one that we send out will have the 7th pumpkin on it. So you get these 3 posters mailed to you, in addition to all the print books and the digital books. And that is for the $65 tier.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brett, it looks like somebody just showed up, and it's right before my... Okay, hang on. Hey, I've got a scroll bar. It is Forrester. So I'm going to kick you, man.
Brett has been ejected.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not personal. Oh, he jumped off himself. I was gonna say it's not personal. I just need the room. He seemed maybe he was bored. Maybe he's really anxious to get out of here. Forrester, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. It's good to get you here. Oh, we were just talking about through the project. I thought the last tier was just Matt. Because I hit the wrong button on the screen and went to just myself.
Well, we got the pumpkin cannon for that too.
So there we go.
And there is one imposter remaining.
Yeah. We gave Brett the boot, and Tim Morris in the chat is making all Among Us jokes, which I only know because my kids are crazy about that game.
It's basically werewolf in space.
Playing my dad card again. Oh yeah. My brother likes Werewolf the card game. I find it, other than being able to accuse my family of horrible things, I don't find it that enjoyable myself. But yeah, so anyway, Forrester, thanks for coming on. I was talking earlier before you got here about how I'm excited you're attached to this project because I've been wanting to see your comics finished for like years now, and so I'm really stoked to have you involved in here. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this project.
There's not much to tell, really. James just announced it on Discord, and I had a concept that I was going to do for a local newspaper back in 2011 that had never been used for various reasons, but it seemed like it could be tweaked into a Mythoverse story. That's about it.
Dude, I love that. That's amazing. I actually have a similar story that I'd like someday to pitch at, but it's not done yet, and I keep finding other things to do. So yeah, and that's the ghost bar thing, right? That's a man. I love that idea.
Yeah, let me center that on the screen real quick so you can see his artwork.
Yeah,
here we go.
Man. That's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that has I love the flat colors. I love the use of angles. It's very much Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, old school Detective Comics kind of look to it, man. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Oh.
It was inspired by / spun off by my indie comic that is entirely non-magical in nature called Dogs and Sailors, which is basically this look, but just in straight up crime story.
Yeah, that's great. And how long is it going to be?
This is 7 pages. The 5 pages was a mistake on my part. When I said 5, it was 5 of story plus a cover and an epilogue.
Right. Okay. Very cool, though. I'm excited to see it, man. So,
thanks.
And you're also doing the art for the 7th story, right?
Correct. The Life's Final Riddle, Piper Chapter 0.
Okay. Nice.
I don't think they've got any of that on there, do they? On the Kickstarter page? That's a radically different style.
In the updates, I believe I included some art. If you drop me the Dropbox link, I could probably share the first page, since I know I put that out in an update, and if we can't find it here.
There we go.
Oh, no, the half-finished one, not the half-finished one.
Well, I don't have anything else.
Give me the Dropbox link and I'll share the finished first page.
No, I haven't uploaded to Dropbox yet. The tablet is charging.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so I will not show that page. It is the half-finished page.
Hold on, let me see what I've got.
So I've got a page I can. It's not necessarily related to Hallowed Harvest, but I have something I could share that's more of Forrester's awesome artwork.
Cool. I'm digging it.
All right. Share
That's
stream.
what the show is for.
Request to share stream. Is it working?
I'm not seeing it yet. Here, let me
Application window. This.
Yeah, I stopped sharing my screen.
I do think it will only allow one guest at a time to.
Oh,
request to
okay.
share.
Now it should be requesting.
So add to stream. Very cool.
So is it shown?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Yes,
So-
we're all looking at the a gladiator kind of character,
A Spartan.
Spartan. Okay.
So this is going to
Gotcha.
be the main character for my entry into the Mythoverse. I just wanted to show off some of his art. I think I love just kind of the whole pulpy style. I like how he does the shading. It's just very thick and dark.
Oh, I love that. Those kind of spot blacks are. I'll be completely honest. Like I crave that kind of thing in art. Like my real introduction. I mean, what really got me hooked into comics was Norm Brayfogle being inked by Steve Mitchell back in Batman in 1991, right? And his stuff, it's expressionistic, it's evocative, it's like heavy use of black line weight. So man, anytime I see anybody pull something like that off, man, it just draws me in. That was like Doug I can't remember his last name right now, who did the art for Jeremy Lott's Movie Men, has a similar kind of line style. And I saw that. I had Jeremy, we talked on Twitter. I hadn't really looked at his project much. I had him on the show. He showed me the art, and I was like, take my money. So I love that kind of use of black line.
I drew a book for him. It hasn't come out yet, but it's
Okay.
like a horror superhero biker story.
Okay, yeah, he's talked about that. So yeah, I'm excited to see that as well. I will probably throw money at that too. This is why I have no money. I find a project and I'm like, that's it. You just have to have this.
Yeah, so Forrester's been a great guy to work with. I found that it's very easy to communicate intent when it comes to the art. Like if I make a note, I'm going to have a short that might show up in that collection of printed shorts that Dan mentioned. And the opening scene is kind of like a nightmare. And so I gave Forrester directions like, do it through the line work, not events. Like show that it's dreamlike through the way you do the inking and the penciling. And I think he did a phenomenal job at making it kind of surreal and eerie without there being a ton of super obvious evidence that it's a dream state at the beginning. So,
and one of the things that is also, I think, is really, really telling with these two projects that we've seen bits from, is just how different that they are, Forrester, in terms of compositionally different. Is that something that you were working really hard at, or is that something you've practiced ahead of time?
I've kind of practiced ahead of time because I have this one character for whom I had planned to tell both a Witchblade styled image book and like a manga, and it would be within the same continuity, but just sort of two different tellings with designs. And that's been put on hiatus, but I had gotten a lot of practice in drawing both ways. So it ended up being like, well, I guess that's all to say. It ended up being good practice. And thankfully I've been drawing a character in a Navy uniform. And then for this project, I had to do a character in a school uniform. So it was practically the same kind of drawing I've been doing for the last 5 months. So it was a lucky accident is all I can say.
Yeah. I think it's going to look really, I know you were like, not this page, but man, I
sent James a page to show.
you posted that in the Mythoverse Hall lane, but yeah, give me one moment. I'll share my screen again.
Gotta get to it.
Yeah, that. All right, share. It's this one. So let me know when you can see it.
There we go. There we go. That's the one. Dude, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that sunset is just that. Are those your colors as well?
Yeah, colors.
Oh man, that's good.
He's making it really hard for me to say no to colors on the main
I
project.
Yeah.
Well, I learned watercolor from my father.
Okay.
And
Wow. That's
he was
cool.
doing watercolor back in like the 70s. So
Yeah.
I kind of learned the fundamentals, analog, and then applied that digitally.
Okay. That was going to be my next question on that, is what your medium was. That just looks just so damned sharp. Yeah, that's great.
Once again,
Also, like for
knocked
the
it
manga
out of the
style
park, man.
box layouts, like
Let's,
gutter layouts and all are entirely different for an Asian style than for Western. That's something you have to keep in mind too.
Mm.
Asian style doesn't use the like square boxes stacked together like Western comics do, because Western comics are playing off of a newspaper tradition, and Asian comics are coming off of Asian wood blocks in the 19th century. So it's like different ways of, you got to kind of think differently.
I would never have stopped to think about that. I mean, you look at the differences and you kind of absorbed them, but as far as how they grew from their own traditions is really interesting, especially because a lot of newspaper strips were heavily influenced by the Art Nouveau advertising, and that was heavily influenced by Japanese woodcuts. And so you have kind of an Ouroboros of artistic stylings that went into it, but their formatting was just different. That's so interesting to think about. I was talking the other day. This has been 9 months ago. I was able to get Matt Weldon on a show, and I was asking about his influence because it seems very Art Nouveau to me. And he's like, "Well, I've not really studied Art Nouveau, but I got a lot of inspiration from Japanese art." And I didn't think about it at the time because I knew it, but it had skipped my mind. And I was thinking back on the show, and I was like, "Wait a second, there's an unintended corollary here." So, I was but yeah, but in terms of format meeting function, it was not something I'd stopped to think about before. That's really interesting, man.
Well, one reason American comics tended to be so box heavy was back in the early 40s, newspaper comics were respected. Comic books were kind of thought of as garbage. Right. So sometimes newspaper comics would be reprinted as comic books, and if your comic book didn't look like it had run in a newspaper, it's like trying to sell a DVD that had never been in theaters.
Right.
And that's how they got like the panels. It had to be a certain way, and that tradition stuck, whereas Asia never had that issue.
Right. Very interesting. That's cool, man.
I always end up drawing birds too. This is like I don't seek out birds specifically, although I love drawing birds. So once again, I got a bird. I think that was just on the screen there with the wings.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that with the owl, which I thought was kind of funny because Neville's. I was looking over your page earlier, and there's just tons of owls all over the place. And,
that had nothing to do with Neville. That was just a coincidence.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean? Neville made a cameo.
It was just one of these things where like this project was clearly meant to be.
Clearly.
There's a touch of destiny amongst it.
Oh yes. All those all that leaked footage of me and Nerd, those little videos of cats and owls messing with each other.
Cats and owls, like cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
It's mass hysteria, absolutely. But so yeah. So now this is of course Matt and Beth are working on Mythics 2, which I'm also super excited to see. Birdemic 3 confirmed, Tim says. But I remember that Dan, you were saying that Adobe Kroger 2 is nearing campaign time. Are you looking at after the first of the year for that, or what's the timetable on that?
Well, I want to launch it in November, but I'm gonna wait until Mythics 2, the print books are sent out before I launch a new campaign, and also Hallowed Harvest. Yeah. So it'll get launched when it gets launched. I mean, the book's nearly finished. So it'll be another one of those you'll get it immediately things because the book's already done.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll just see how it works out. I just want to make sure that these two campaigns, Mythics and Hallowed Harvest, are done before we launch another one.
Well, with was it a difficult? I mean, what did you guys? Because Mythics it's run into a little bit of hiccups with the end of it. Was it a difficult decision going forward with Hallowed Harvest? Did you get any pushback from that. I mean, personally, I know Matt and Beth are going to deliver an excellent product. If it's a couple of weeks or even a month delayed, goodness sakes, I'm not going to be upset about it at all. But with launching so close to that other campaign, was there anybody who was like, saucy about that at all, or
Not to me, or not to my knowledge. It was an entirely separate creative team, and it's under actually a separate crowdfunding account, Mythoverse Anthologies rather than Mythoverse Comics. So we just thought, it's a timely project. It needs to be done in time for Halloween. So if we're gonna do this, we have to do this now. So we decided to just go for it and see what happens. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, then at least we had fun trying, right?
right?
But I think we've definitely shown that there is enthusiasm for all these fantastic artists and writers here. Just we're off to a really good start, and the next one will be even bigger.
So I got one more art in from Forrester. If I can share my screen one more time.
Yeah,
I'm sorry it's on and off, but
No, I don't mind at all. Oh my goodness sakes!
crabs.
Crabs.
This is amazing. Look at that! Look at that lower left panel. That close up.
See, that's the one though. That bottom row is what just drew my eye. That whole thing is just like I didn't even notice the crab at first. I'm completely honest, because there's so much pregnancy, so much action, so much moment. I love this.
There's kind of a cool story behind the crab that Forrester told me a while ago.
Yeah.
It was it. Oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say, Matt in the chat says, I think the reason there wasn't any blowback was because of constant communication with backers, which I agree. Matt is almost too communicative.
Yeah, I think during our first campaign, we were at the point where our backers were like, "We get it, shut up."
Oh, that's one thing. Brian Ball was on the show a couple weeks ago talking about the exact same thing. People complain that his Patreon backers complain about him talking too much.
Yeah, I think we ended up with like 52 updates on our first Kickstarter.
Of course, with Brian, they're not the only ones. And I wish he was here for me to insult in person. I just don't feel right about it.
Yeah, at least James had the whiskey balls to go at him in person.
Oh yeah, that's frustrating.
Well,
the
to be
one
fair-
time I get drunk is the one time I interact with Brian.
To be fair, we made a meme out of it,
honest.
and he's very amused by the whole thing.
Oh
so.
yes.
I have to be honest.
We can
almost
laugh about
every
it
time
now.
I've interacted with Brian, he's been drunk. So
The one thing I remember is that he was we were both out of it because I was drunk and he was high on Valium, I think, from like he had back issues or something.
Had some drugs talking to each other.
Yep.
well, the whiskey doesn't lie. That's the only thing I think to take from that.
But the whiskey can definitely be mistaken.
It does not lie, but it can be wrong.
I appreciate that. So, but no, man, Forrester, I love that page. I absolutely love it. So you desperately have to get more stuff out there for me to buy. That's maybe wait till I have money again, but for the love of God, I need more of that in my life.
Yeah, the ghosts here are all based on things that happen. There's somebody from each war in the Atlantic Ocean, Chesapeake Bay area. So there's like a pirate, a Confederate, somebody from the Oyster Wars, a U-boat captain. And the woman with the crab is based off of an actual suicide that happened during World War II. These two teenage girls had married sailors, and then the sailors took off. And so they decided they would jump off the ferry together. One survived and one did not. And there was this infamous police captain who was like an captain who was like an NYPD Blue character, real tough guy, gruff, didn't take any mess. And he wanted to make sure that the one who survived realized the severity of what was going on. So he took her, quote, into the city morgue to see what the crabs had left of her friend's face. He
Nice.
was that kind of old school hard cop.
Hmm.
And so that was that's the story behind Why the Crab Woman, which anybody who's worked like rescue, like my mom was an EMT, and you see some stuff with crabs in the Chesapeake Bay.
Well, yeah, I would imagine. I mean, they're bottom feeding scavengers. What else could possibly happen?
Exactly.
But yeah. So, Tim, my goodness, you're cracking me up. I tell you what. So, but yeah, no, man, I'm super stoked for this story. It's gonna be. I mean, actually, all of these stories just sound great. This is such a fun project, and I think I gotta tell you, man, I think I've told you this before, Dan, that I'm jealous with how your universe is taken off, because like I've like I said, nobody designs a universe and doesn't want people to play in it, right? So
Right.
me and the guys, we've developed the universe, and it's really taken a while to take off, and I'm not begrudging you at all, because I'm sitting here and I'm absorbing it, and I love to see it happen. I wouldn't not want it, but man, I really, you guys, it's so cool to be able to share that with people. And
I agree. It's so gratifying and humbling that all these great artists and writers want to help build up what we started. And that's why I'm putting so much energy into helping them as much as I can.
Absolutely.
To get it done, to take care of the dull stuff so they can just focus on creating great stories.
Yeah, and it is super neat to see it all come together, and every one of the stories could be its own project, frankly. I mean, just on the way it sounds. So
That's what we're hoping results from this, like long term. Like, people look at Neville and say, I want to see more of this character.
Mm-hmm.
And then Neville goes off and makes his own campaign, and his own work takes off. That would make me very happy. So,
yeah. Carl in the chat's right on the money. Trying to launch an entire universe ain't easy.
No. It's, we began conceiving of this in 2018, to give you an idea.
Well, yeah. Well, believe me, we started in 2005. So, you don't got to tell me about that.
Yeah. But I think what's really worked out is that Brett, Matt, and I have complementary skill sets.
Yes.
So that I can focus on what I'm good at, and Brett can focus on what he's good at, and Matt the same.
Yeah.
And we got to the point now where it's like, hopefully our brand will be enough to draw in some new readers to all these new creators, and let them watch their own work.
Well, I think first of all, the fact that you've fulfilled, that people have books in hand, people like them, I think that definitely goes to it. I think the fact that Kickstarter already funded,
right,
evidence of that people are already buying in to that to a certain extent. I think you have some of that already. I know. I wasn't sure if you guys, if the original three of you guys were going to have any projects in the can or not, but I knew that if you guys were involved, that I had your blessing, that it was going to be the kind of stuff that I want to read, right? So as a reader, not speaking as a creator, but as a reader, I knew that this was something that I wanted to buy in on. And I got to be honest, Forrester, I didn't realize that I backed it without realizing you were involved, or I'd have backed sooner.
Thanks.
Because I've wanted to see your stuff for years. I don't know if you know this or not, but every time you've teased something on Twitter, I've been annoyed that I don't get to see more of it.
I like to have things finished before. I don't know. I'm kind of averse to crowdfunding. I'll probably end up doing it, but I
know.
Don't like it. So I want to be done first. I don't want to be one of those that never fulfilled or something.
Well, and that's one thing that, like, we I don't know if you guys know this or not. Dan does, because he backed. But a couple of years ago, it's a year and a half ago now. We crowdfunded for a mystery story, Expositioner, Solo Voce, and we have run into production hell on it. One of our artists just decided he couldn't be part of it anymore, and we were about halfway done with the book. and so we're having to start from page 1 again because our pencil artist can't match our ink artist can't match the penciler's style. So,
No, that's so irritating.
oh my god, I'm so sad. Anyway, we're not we're behind super bad. And so the idea about wait until you're completed to finish, that's 100% something that like every ideal project will have from here on out, because we can't be ideal comics if we're not producing product, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's definitely the tack that I took with Adobe Kroger issue 2. I mean, it's going to be done before I launch the campaign.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it's a bummer, but man, I know still totally what you're coming from with that, Forrester, but also your stuff, I just love it.
Thanks.
In fact, earlier I was lamenting you not being here because I was talking about you, and somebody's like, "Oh, he was asking if you were still alive," and I was like, "Well, get him on here, goodness sakes." I'll kick Brett off because
Yeah.
I hope he didn't. I was a little flippant with him. I hope he didn't take that personally. I was no.
Poor Brett. He's unfortunately probably used to it by now.
Somebody had to go.
He's a little bit of the punching bag for the group.
Yeah.
You know, and I always check with him to make sure, that we don't go too far. But the whole big gay meme is kind of like, I think he's ready for that to end. But and I don't blame him. But he's a very good sport, and he's got a long view of the whole thing. So he says whatever's good for the community, he's fine with it.
Yeah. And
He's our Bill Murray.
that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, he's got that dry, sarcastic sense of humor.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, but I'm really, really stoked for how the thing goes. I just realized it's almost 9.
Back to project.
Yeah, back to project.
I had no idea. But
now,
you guys who are watching, we started late. It's my fault. Sorry. In fact, Dan was like, "Are you doing this or what?" I was like, "Yeah, I sucks." But yeah, so we're not getting a full 2 hours in today because I have things I need to do, so I can't stick around much longer. But man, seriously, guys, I will go put this again in the chat here, and definitely go check it out there on Indiegogo, and back this. I mean, I believe in the project. Come on, throw your pence on the table there, guys. Come on, find $5. What?
Done and done.
Do it, man. I'm just excited for it. It's going to be a great project.
It will be.
Like
Thank you very much.
And like I said, before I even knew who was involved, I mean, I knew if Dan and Matt and Brett had said, we're okay with sharing our brand with these guys, I knew they was going to be on there. And this was, and like I said, this was before I knew Forrester was involved, whose stuff I've been a fan of for at least 2 years. So,
well, you'll get 2 Forrester illustrated stories.
Forrester stories. Come on, you got, and it's got roots in the old Samhain stuff. It's got roots in our American Halloween traditions. It's got ghost stories. It's got are there zombies? I don't know. There's vampires though.
There are vampires. Yes.
There's one zombie there's like one zombie in the background in mine because I got too lazy to design another historical ghost. Fair
enough. I can dig it. I was just editing a zombie story earlier today for a guy, so I had zombies in my head. So yeah, great stuff. I'm super excited for how this is coming out there. Back it. If he wants to do Garfield comic, you'll put your foot down. Anyway, I'm so excited for this project, and we're looking at a week or two, and we'll have the digitals. So
if everything goes well, 6 days. If you've backed the project at anything more than the $1 tier, you will have digitals in your hand
for Halloween. Can you think of something better? People of the internet, can you think of something better?
The only unfortunate thing is that we won't be able to get prints to you by Halloween, and that's regrettable, but that's that's kind of a byproduct of bringing the project together in 3 months.
So
you'll have the stories for Halloween. That's what's important.
here is Tim's pitch from the chat. Hold off following another e-thought on OnlyFans for just a month and back Halloween Harvest. I don't care how juicy your thighs are, you can wait another month.
Your thighs will be there next month, fellas.
The thighs will be there in November.
And they may even be thicker next November.
Oh man.
Oh,
We gotta get on more. These are great laughs.
Oh goodness sakes! Well, I'd love to have you guys on again. Actually, I was talking, like I said, Dan and Matt and have both been on, and Brett have been on before. I like having Matt on more often, but his work schedule conflicts with my time slot, and I'm really inflexible with my time slot. I don't know why I decided to, but like 7 to 9 Thursday is the only time I will do my show. Which means that like it's hard to get sometimes. I like Neostar has been in the chat, was in the chat earlier. I love having him in the chat. His project, I have so many questions and I just want to just like pick his little brain. I don't know how big his brain is. I just assume he's little because I'm an old man. And he's always at work. He catches on, he tunes in on his break and everything. But I really want to find out more about his character. I mean, ever since the straight stuff, but I'm inflexible. So there you have it. But guys, thanks so much for coming on. Next time you guys have something on, or if there's a topic you guys want to suggest for a show, come on. Let me know. Hit me up, and because I'm always looking for people.
Well, I think it'd be fun to do kind of like a Hallowed Harvest retrospective, like. In November, once the prints are out, kind of talk about what we've learned through the process.
Something I've done a couple of times is I can only be on for half an hour on Thursdays. Matt says this is true. But one of the things I've done sometimes, and actually next week, I'm having Tonic Mole on, and we're doing a Mattriarchy book club review. And so the first half of the show, I'll get some people that have read the project and we'll talk about it like a book club. And the second half of the show, we'll bring the creator on and powwow about everything with it. And it would be really fun maybe to get, and we're having our reviewers our next week are going to be Jeremy Lott and Fly Fox Pro and #1 Marmaduke fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a real fun show next week. Tell your friends. Anyway, it would be fun to do something like that. I mean, we can't fit everyone in here unless I figure out some way to stream a Discord chat or something. Because I'm super low tech. But it would be really fun to do something like that where we can get some people, some reader perspective on, and then talk about it with the creators. That would be really, really fun.
It'd be fun as long as the feedback is positive. Or there will be like, hey, you want to repeat that to me? It sucks. How hard?
You have to be able to share audio from your screen. Yes, I do got to figure something out with that. But I know if I ever switch to a day shift, I'm more happy to come on. And I actually have the capacity to pre-record now, but I still have to give up a chunk of my Saturday, and I'm not sure I'm willing to do that yet. Maybe over Christmas break. I've got this half of the year has been crazy for me. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having
us.
Absolutely. And you people out there, internet land, go get yourself some Hallowed Harvest. Come on, you just do it.
Trust me, you're going to love it.
You absolutely are going to love it. I know I already love it, and I haven't read it yet. I get a feeling for it, man. It's just like, when you see,
I agree.
When you see the quality of people, when you converse with them, you kind of get a feeling for it. I knew Soulfinder was going to be a knockout of the park, just from knowing Doug Ernst, just from hearing his criticism of things and thinking about seeing how he put thoughts together. I knew he was going to hit it.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great book.
Oh my goodness! Can you believe? Have you seen the art that he's been sharing? Matt Weldon's art from Volume 2.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my
incredible.
God! I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, Doug and I don't know, friends is weird on the internet, but we share stuff. So I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff. I can't tell you about the stuff. It's so good. The stuff you've seen, everyone has seen is good, but the stuff you haven't seen, you will crap yourself. It's so good.
Awesome.
Everyone's like, maybe I won't back it. I don't know.
I don't want to crap myself.
Well, it'll be a good bathroom read.
Just there you go. There you go.
All right. Well, thanks again. I got to head out.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, I already gave my pitch for the show. And I will say one last thing. Because it's my show, I'm going to shill my own thing just a little bit. If you guys check out, or did it? Oh, I didn't make it. Never mind. I thought I had a banner up there to show I have a store at idealcomics.net where you can buy all of our stuff digital. We're not doing anything in print right now until we get some of our bugs worked out, but you can buy PDFs of nearly our entire catalog, and they're dirt cheap. You can get the whole thing for less than $10.
Shopping spree time.
There you go. Idealcomics.net/shop. And check it out. Both anthologies, bunch of mini comics, even a CD. So anyway, but before you give me money, give these guys money. Seriously. So I'm not even putting a link in the chat. That's how much I mean it. Bye, guys. See you all next week.
Yep. See you later.
See ya.
Where's that button? Okay. End broadcast. Oh, come on.